Hello, my name is Charlotte and I make videos about writing and writing in journals. And today I'm going to be doing the latter by reviewing The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. If you would like more of these videos, please don't forget to subscribe down below and tap that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you are new here, thank you. If you are not new here, welcome back, and thanks for watching this video. Without further ado, let's get into the review. So this is Katherine Arden's summary on Goodreads. At the edge of the Russian wilderness, winter lasts most of the year and the snowdrifts grow taller than houses. But Vasilisa doesn't mind. She spends the winter nights huddled around the embers of a fire with her beloved siblings, listening to their nurse's fairy tales. Above all, she loves the chilling story of Frost, the blue-eyed winter demon. That was the first half of paragraph number 1 out of 4 on the Goodreads summary. The Bear and the Nightingale is part of the Winter Night trilogy. It's book number 1 and it's been rated 4.09 out of 5 on Goodreads. So someone suggested this series to me on Instagram because I mentioned that I recently got into fairy tale retellings, and who doesn't love fairy tales? Recently, I've been reading a whole bunch of revisions. I really should make a list or something to keep track, like maybe an Instagram reel or something like that, once I figure out how to do that is. But yeah, all the retellings I've recently read are like Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all the usual retellings. But this book was based on a Russian myth, which I adore because it was a breath of fresh air. Honestly, this book wasn't normally what I'd pick out for myself, even in this realm of retelling. It has a bit of fantasy, it has a lot of retelling, and I adore romance. And this book lacked that. I thought, because normally in the other retellings, the normal ones, it's all about romance, but this character, the main character in this book, Vasilisa, is a strong female protagonist who don't need no man to do her jobs for her. So I guess it's fitting that this book doesn't have a lot of romance. Not that it needs romance, that is. I mean, this book is just written to suck you in. Every chapter, I kept asking myself what would come next. The story was told in multiple points of view, and while I didn't really necessarily like the variety, I'm one of those lame-o people who enjoy just the one POV or the two POVs at the most, I did think it was integral to the story. All the main character development occurred in an inner monologue. There was no reacting to each other that boosted character development, which I thought was a very interesting choice. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. My favorite aspect of this book by far was definitely the imagery that Arden uses, and so that's why I rated this book 4.05 out of 5, and on Goodreads I think I rated it 4 out of 5. And right now, I don't know, just looking back at it, I'm wondering why I did that. Because my favorite aspect of this book was by far, the landscape. Arden uses so many beautiful words and rhetorical devices to describe this environment where Vasilisa and her family lives. And I just wanted to know more about the rural forest and the snow that covered the grounds and the natural disasters that swept across their lands. That was my favorite part of the story. And so, for that same reason, I'm curious about picking up the next 2 books. In the end, I probably will pick up the next 2 books because I just feel incomplete. My soul is incomplete if I don't finish a series. But I did sneak ahead and I cheated a little and read the next 2 summaries of the following 2 books, and they both take place in an urban environment. And so, when my favorite aspect of the first book was the rural environment, it's a little daunting. But yeah, I am curious because, maybe the fact that she could pull off something so amazing like this in her book just tells you what she's going to make and what she's going to describe and write and introduce in her second series of the novel. I mean, urbanized setting makes room for political intrigue, romance, drama, and all these other things that I'm just kind of psyched to see if there are. That saying, I think my biggest critique of this story, by far, is probably the summary. Like, once you've read the summary, I mean, the summary is 4 paragraphs of the first book. That's like a sentence per chapter. And I basically knew exactly what was going to happen. Vasilisa stays this heroic character from sentence number 1, and she doesn't change. It's more so people realize who she is throughout the story and her role in society. That's kind of where it lands. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. If you have read this series or read this book, comment down below. Tell me what your favorite parts of the story are. Tell me what you hate the most. Let's start up a conversation, because I love book talks and I could probably talk forever about this book, but I'm not going to because I don't want to spoil the novel for anyone. You're probably wondering what I'm doing now. So basically, this book is my book review standard traveler notebook sized insert. I did hand make it, hand stitch it all together, which is why you can see the black string. And basically, I'm drawing out a forest using gouache. And you saw me struggling a lot because this isn't watercolor paper. And you're probably like, well, Charlotte, why didn't you use watercolor paper when I see that the left side of the page is filled with paint, and now you're painting the right side of the page? Doesn't it just make sense? And yes, you would be correct. That does make sense. I just didn't do that. And yeah, that's my only excuse. So I struggled a lot with trying to make this gradient, but in the end, I do rather like it. It kind of looks like a forest. And that is probably because that's my favorite part of the book. I thought it was really fitting. You'll see I struggled a lot with writing out the title in a Posca pen. Oh, by the way, I guess I forgot to tell you, but I actually used gouache paint, not watercolor. I keep on talking about watercolor because the two are so similar, but this is gouache paint, and it does use water, but it is more opaque than watercolor. Oh, and below. Oh, hello, Cami. Do you want to play with me and talk about books with me? You okay? Where was I? Yeah, I struggled because paint takes a long time to dry, and I'm really impatient. You only saw one clip of me dabbing the paper to test if it had been dry or not, but fun fact, I had like 15 or 20 minutes of drying paper because I was so impatient and I was checking it like every 10 minutes, but it wouldn't dry. So at one point I just gave up and I said, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to use my Posca pen and paint over the top and we'll make do. So yeah, that's what you saw me doing. And I think it worked out fine. Oh, my cat just hid in a bag next to me. But yeah, I think it did work out fine. But it just goes to show that good things come when you wait. And if you don't want to wait, then lower your expectations. But yeah, overall, I did really enjoy this book, and I do recommend it. So that was my review for The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden, the Winter Night Trilogy numero 1. If you are interested in more videos styled like this one, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little lookbook into my book reviewer, because I know Goodreads is a huge thing, and I recently made a Goodreads account, and then I fell into this rabbit hole where I just added all the books I saw on the recommendation page, so now my TBR list is like triple in size, so I'm going to be reading a lot more books. If you want to find me on Goodreads, I will leave the link down below. You can also find me at Charlieewriter with me on Instagram, and there should be a link with my YouTube channel, my Goodreads, and my NaNoWriMo, because yeah, friend me and let's talk. I didn't want to put any spoilers in this video because this is a very good book, and I think a lot of people do like this, even if you're not into the whole mythical fairy tale retelling thing. I think that you'd enjoy this book, and so if you have read it, let's start up a conversation, because I like to fan over books, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who might possibly want to read it. But yeah, thank you so much. Happy watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!